The office windows were still lit when the rest of the street had gone dark. The clock on my dashboard blinked 11:47 p.m., steady and accusing. He said he was staying late to finish reports, but I'd started noticing that his reports always took exactly as long as my trust. I sat in the car, engine off, fingers drumming the steering wheel to the rhythm of fluorescent hum. The parking lot was mostly empty, just a few tired sedans and one flickering security light that made everything look half forgiven. My name's Clara. I'm 32. I'm a night shift nurse, the kind of person who can tell a lie by the pulse in someone's neck, but still finds ways to believe in people anyway. I live by schedules, routines, alarms that tell me when to wake, when to eat, when to care. He lives by ambition. David, my husband, 36, works in logistics. Long hours, endless deadlines. The kind of man who treats sleep like an inconvenience. Our lives have always been slightly out of sync. 2 clocks set just a few beats apart. I used to admire that about him. His focus, his drive, his discipline. But lately, that sound of overtime, the low hum of lights, the soft echo of keys being typed long after the world has gone quiet, has started to sound less like dedication and more like distance. I used to wait for him because I missed him. Now I wait because I don't trust what time he's keeping anymore. Before you judge me for not noticing sooner, you should know what our marriage looked like. It looked busy, 2 careers passing each other like trains in the night, one leaving as the other arrived. Mornings were hellos murmured over burnt toast and caffeine breath. Nights were voicemail kisses I played half asleep in the hospital locker room. He'd text, "Be safe tonight? Love you." I'd reply, "Don't stay too late." That was what love sounded like for us. Efficient, scheduled, on time. We weren't perfect, but we were stable, bills paid, fridge stocked, occasional laughter in between exhaustion. Sometimes on Sundays, we'd remember to sit on the couch at the same time and call it quality time. David's job demanded long hours, clients across time zones, unpredictable deadlines. I understood that. I'm a nurse. I live in chaos. It felt fair to give him the same grace my patients give me. I trusted him not because he earned it every day, but because I didn't have the bandwidth to question everything. That's how marriages survive sometimes. Through exhaustion, not effort. Work was our shared religion. He worked to provide, I worked to forget. The fatigue, the distance, the quiet that used to be conversation. I used to think our schedules made us equals, 2 people building a life from opposite ends, meeting somewhere in the middle. But now I realize we weren't meeting. We were just clocking in and out of each other's lives, mistaking endurance for devotion. And somewhere between those shifts, love punched out first. We met the way most practical people do, through work, not fate. A mutual colleague introduced us at a company retreat neither of us wanted to attend. He'd forgotten his laptop charger. I'd brought 2. And that's how it started. A conversation over spreadsheets and bad hotel coffee. David was ambitious in a way that felt contagious. He talked about 5-year plans like other people talked about holidays. I liked his structure. He liked my calm. He once told me, "You make chaos make sense." I didn't realize then that's what he wanted. Someone to tidy the emotional mess while he chased deadlines. We built a life out of shared competence. A small townhouse with leaky faucets we fixed ourselves. Saturday grocery runs. IKEA furniture we swore we'd upgrade one day. It wasn't glamorous, but it was ours. 2 people quietly building something that looked like stability. On good nights, he'd cook while I charted patient notes, both of us side by side, lit by the same soft lamp. We'd talk about traveling someday, about seeing cities where no one knew our names. But those dreams aged fast. His promotions came quicker than our vacations. His laptop started coming to bed before he did. David measured his worth in hours billed and clients satisfied. I measured mine in lives stabilized and wounds stitched. We spoke the same language of responsibility, but different dialects of sacrifice. He never really left the office. He just brought the office home. The tone, the deadlines, the way love turned into another task he meant to get to later. Looking back, I don't miss him. I miss who I thought we were building. It was his birthday. I left work early, stopped for his favorite wine, lit the candles, even ironed the tablecloth. Something I hadn't done in years. The house smelled like rosemary and garlic. By 7, the pasta was ready. By 8, it was cold. He didn't answer my texts. Not the 1st, not the 5th. His read receipts stayed blank like a flat line. When the key finally turned in the lock, it was past 10. He walked in looking wrong. Tired, yes, but not the kind of tired that comes from work. There was something too clean about him. His shirt crisp, his skin smelling like hotel soap. That synthetic scent you can't mistake for home. He kissed my cheek distractedly. Sorry. Boss stayed late. We had to finalize the quarterly projections. I nodded, because that's what you do when you love someone who's fluent in excuses. You translate lies into reasons. I poured him wine, though neither of us drank it. The candles burned out one by one, wax pooling like evidence. After he went upstairs, I scraped the cold pasta into the trash, the sauce swirling down the drain like something being erased. The sound felt louder than it should have. I told myself he was just tired, that people forget, that exhaustion looks like detachment. But the truth came in whispers. Not from him, but from everything around him. The faint scent of someone else's shampoo, the way he didn't look at me when he said, "Next year will be better." He turned off his phone that night before bed. For the first time. And somehow, that small click of silence felt louder than any argument we'd ever had. It wasn't supposed to be a surprise, just a small kindness. I'd finished my shift early, picked up Thai takeout, and thought, he'll like this. He's been stressed. The rain had just started when I pulled into his office lot. The plastic bag warm against my arm, the sky bleeding gray into black. His car was there, parked under the same flickering lamp I always teased him about. But the building was dark, all except for one window glowing in the far corner. I remember thinking how strange it looked, that lone rectangle of light against a sea of shadows. I killed the engine and waited. When the minutes stretched too long, I went inside. The lobby was empty, the hum of the vending machine the only sound. I climbed the stairs quietly, the smell of old carpet and printer ink heavy in the air. From the hallway, I could see straight through the glass doors into his office. He wasn't alone. A woman sat beside him, her laugh small, soft, the kind that folds easily into someone else's silence. She leaned in, hand resting on his shoulder, fingers tracing something invisible. I didn't need to see a kiss. The familiarity in her touch told me everything. It wasn't a stranger, it was Emily, his assistant. The same woman who'd helped me plan our anniversary party last year. The one who'd called me lucky. I stood there long enough for the takeout bag to cool in my hands. Then I turned and walked out, each step deliberate, careful, like walking through broken glass. Outside, the rain had stopped. The world was still, indifferent. I thought catching someone would feel like fire. Rage, heat, a crack in the air. But it didn't. It felt like paperwork. Something to file. Something to finish. That night, I didn't confront him. I watched him come home hours later, shoes damp, smile rehearsed. Instead of asking, I started listening, checking patterns, cross-referencing his late nights with her posts, meetings, dinners, conferences, and every time his reports ran late, her calendar went mysteriously blank. I tried to pretend things were normal, made his coffee the way he liked it, 2 sugars, no eye contact, packed his lunches, texted him reminders about bills and doctor appointments, played the part of a woman whose world hadn't quietly shifted sideways. But normalcy, once cracked, turns into evidence. The faint perfume clinging to his jacket that wasn't mine. The new tie I hadn't seen him buy. Deep burgundy, too deliberate. The gym membership suddenly renewed after 3 years of neglect. Every detail started to hum with meaning. One evening, while sorting receipts on our shared laptop, I found a draft in his email. Subject line, termination of contract. It wasn't sent. It wasn't about work, either. The letter was addressed to his boss, thanking them for the opportunity, explaining his decision to pursue something new. Something, not somewhere, not someone, just something. The timestamp was 3 weeks old, the same week I caught him with Emily in that office. He hadn't just been planning to leave his job. He'd been planning to leave me. When he came home, I was sitting at the kitchen table, laptop open. Thinking of a career change? I asked. He froze, blinked, then laughed, soft, dismissive. You've been snooping again. I was looking for tax receipts, not a new life, I said. He sighed, rubbing his temples. "You're overreacting, Isa. You're always so suspicious. Maybe you're jealous of my progress." I couldn't help it. I laughed. Progress doesn't have lipstick on it. Something cracked behind his eyes. He dropped the act, shoulders sagging. "It wasn't what you think," he said. "It started as emotional support. Late nights, talking, helping each other through stress." He paused, searching my face for softness. "That's the part that hurt the most," I told him. "It started with words, the one thing we used to do right." He didn't respond, just stared at the floor, silent in a house that suddenly felt like a museum. All our shared objects labeled before. He said he needed space. "To think," he told me, suitcase half zipped, avoiding my eyes. I didn't stop him. I just stood in the doorway and nodded, pretending detachment was maturity. It's strange how love teaches you to wait even when the waiting is already over. The first week alone felt like recovery, the house breathing again without his noise, the air clearing of his cologne and half-finished sentences. I kept the place tidy, like he might walk back in and see proof I hadn't fallen apart. 2 weeks later, an email arrived from his company's HR department. It was automated, polite, addressed to Mrs. Hayes. Attached was a copy of his formal resignation, effective immediately. I stared at the screen, rereading the lines until they blurred. He'd actually done it, left the job he built his entire identity around. For a moment, I almost admired his courage. Then I saw the second attachment, a press release. Emily, his assistant, had launched her own consultancy firm. He'd joined as co-founder. That was the third twist, the one that didn't break me so much as hollow me out. He hadn't been choosing between us. He'd already chosen, long before the lies, long before the motel soap and the missed dinners. The overtime wasn't for work. It was for building a future that didn't include me. That night, I sat at the kitchen table sorting through utility bills and half-empty envelopes. I deleted his contact but kept the shared grocery list. Some habits die slower than love. The silence in that room was clean, clinical, like after a patient's discharge. I used to think love was about staying late. Now I know it's about knowing when to clock out. And some people, no matter how hard you try to heal them, never punch back in. It's been 7 months. The days have shape again. I go to work, I come home, I sleep. Function, not flourish. But it's enough. The nurses at the hospital stopped asking how I'm really doing. That's the gift of routine. It dulls the ache into something manageable, something you can carry in your pocket without bleeding. Every so often, his name appears in my inbox, CC'd on hospital billing threads, polite as punctuation. David Hayes, consultant. Just another signature in a sea of professionals. I delete the emails faster than I used to, though sometimes I still read the first line, curiosity pretending to be closure. He and Emily post updates on LinkedIn now. New clients, growth milestones, expanding horizons. I scroll past mostly. The betrayal doesn't sting. It just echoes. I haven't forgiven him. I haven't become bitter either. I'm just quieter. Like a room after the power cuts out and you finally hear how loud silence really is. I still drive past his old office sometimes, out of habit more than hope. The lights are different now. New bulbs, new people, same hum of overtime. He told me he was staying late to finish reports, but he was really cheating on me at work. Turns out I was the overtime he never clocked out from. Some people finish their shifts, others just leave you with the lights on. And I guess I'm still here, not waiting, not working, just counting hours, until I forget which ones were his.